Franchise Envy. I have an amazing guest today, and Franchise Envy is all about happy, successful franchisees and how they did it.
Up next.
And you started, you kind of blown right into it during a hurricane. How did this come about? Exactly.
Yeah, so fun story.
I'm smiling because it has a great ring to it. 3 million in 3
Right?
years.
I thought so too. If I can leverage their wisdom, then I think that's going to help me out. So you're asking about wisdom, but it's me leveraging others' wisdom and kind of taking their learning lessons and applying it to my business.
So Nina Hunter, hailing from Sarasota, Florida, with Voda Cleaning and Restoration. Nina, welcome to the show.
Hey Lance, thanks for having me. It's great to meet you.
Nina, it's great to see you face to face finally. So let's talk about how did you get into Voda Cleaning and Restoration?
Yeah, so it kind of started back in 2023. I was looking into opening a coffee shop, and I don't know if you know much about coffee shops, but they're quite a big investment.
Yeah.
So I was like, hold on, wait. Before we launch that, let's hire a franchise coach to really analyze that. And so based on connecting with that coach, he opened me up to a world of franchises that I had no idea existed. So specifically in the home services space. So he gave us 10 to look at, myself and my husband. And from there, we started interviewing about 4 or 5 companies. That's when we found Voda. They stuck out for a number of reasons. So the more we talked to them, the more we liked them. And so then finally we signed up. We did it.
So did you join Voda because apparently there's a Voda Yoda, Dragon, the founder. That's what I call him at least. So he's an impressive guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's part of the whole package. So
Yes.
definitely after meeting him and Dan and all the leadership team, that was definitely a bonus to being with Voda.
Yeah, the social media superstar Dan Claps, who is the
Oh, yeah.
the big boss at Voda. So how long have you been doing this? About 7 months?
Operational 7 months. It was
And
about a year ago I started looking at them.
it was about a year ago. And how many territories did you end up doing?
3 territories.
3 territories. And is this your very first business?
It is. So my background is in product marketing, more on the corporate world. So I got to a point where it was time to open up my own business, and franchising just made sense to me.
Love it. And you started, you kind of blown right into it during a hurricane. How did this come about? Exactly.
Yeah, so fun story. We went to corporate training, and while we were there up in Wisconsin, a hurricane hit Sarasota or hit Florida. And so before we even got back home, we had a job locked in. And I was just thinking, I hope we make this flight home so we can get to working. So it wasn't like 6 hours later, we hopped off the plane and we were on a job site. So from there, we signed that one home, and then we had 4 other neighbors signing up. So for about a month, we were just kind of going house to house in this little 1-block radius. So that was like my initiation into the restoration world, is a hurricane with the flooding that happened across Sarasota or the Keys.
Nothing like joining a restoration brand, being in training, and a hurricane hits your hometown, and you're like, hot diggity, we don't want anybody to get hurt, but these things happen, and we're getting into this business for a reason, and now we get to start, we get to
Yeah,
hit the
it only
ground running.
solidified my thinking of why a restoration company would be great in this area. So
Amazing. So what was the hardest part of launching this particular business? There's always going to be a hard part or some unexpected things.
yeah, I mean, I think opening a business, there's a lot that goes into it. Like coming from the corporate world, like, my background being marketing, like I did just marketing. I did a lot of project management, but it was things that I didn't even realize, like, I mean, of course, ADP and like HR, but then just like the CRM, just the full package of what you needed to. So that was a learning curve, but it was also the industry that I chose too. So it's learning how to do jobs but also like higher level industry, like the fact that you're collecting on insurance and it takes 60 to 90 days to get paid. So then you have to manage, that like cash flow or the connections that you have to make, because there's a lot of kind of relationship building in order to get more business here. So I would say just learning a new industry on the ins and outs of it was something that I didn't anticipate. So that's been fun navigating
So,
that.
when you told the backstory at the beginning, I want to dive deeper into, with all of the businesses that you were looking at, what really stuck out about Voda? Was it more the culture of the business and the organization itself, or the fact that it was also restoration that clearly is recession proof?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head on a lot of those things. So there's three reasons I chose Voda. One being the leadership. When I first started interviewing, it seemed like they were business people. They really knew what they were doing in the space. And then they chose restoration. There's definitely a need. It's a need-based service. So there's always going to be floods in homes. There's always going to be hurricanes. And then I like that they did cleaning on top of it, because while restoration can be seasonal or it doesn't affect everyone, like a water heater burst can be random, there's the cleaning side too that can help us on a daily basis with the carpet, tile, and upholstery. And then the third reason, I just really liked their branding and their marketing. I thought they would really stick out in the industry here in Sarasota, just amongst the competitors. So those are the top three reasons.
Awesome. Let's talk money. The show me the money segment that everybody always wants to pay attention to. What was your investment in the three territories? Obviously, that's going to be working capital you planned on, and the investment in the franchise fees and all that good stuff. Marketing. What did that look like?
Yeah, so having the three territories and then coming in to a hurricane, I think I bulked up on, like, I bought a vehicle within a month, I bought extra equipment. So that's not something that every franchise owner is going to have to do. So my investment it was just shy of 500 when I added everything up with the loans and my personal contributions. So just
And
under
I know, on the revenue side, in the item 19 for Voda, last I checked, it was over 2.5 million is what the main corporate territory does. Is that your expectation and the goal? I know you're only at it 7 months, but is your goal to get to 2 million a year plus?
Yeah, that's definitely my goal, just based on the FDD and that location, the flagship location, and the size that he is. I'm hoping to get 3 million in 3 years is my goal. My territory is just a little bit larger, so I think I can hit that with some good business coming in.
I'm smiling because it has a great ring to it. 3 million in 3 years.
Right? I thought so too. I have my 1 year goal, but 3 and 3 sounds great. And if I get
Fabulous.
close, that'd be awesome.
So Nina, we all make mistakes in life, and especially in the first year with franchisees. It doesn't have to be about you specifically, but what do you see as the biggest mistake that new franchisees make in any franchise?
It's kind of twofold. So I think one is like maybe ramping up too quickly. I think being a little conservative in nature and like saving funds for a rainy day is great. Like, especially like Voda, there's so much equipment that you can buy to do the jobs, but kind of making sure that you're spending your money responsibly is one thing. And then two, just giving yourself some sort of buffer. Like when I came into it, I may have spent more than other owners just bulking up on a few things, due to the hurricane, but just accounting for situations like that where you need extra funds. So there was what was in the FDD, but in my head, I wanted to make sure I had some sort of a buffer so I could grow at the speed I wanted to.
So
So
did you get a loan when you started, or was this all cash?
I did two things. So one is the ROBS program, Rollover for Business Startup. So we took our traditional IRAs, rolled them into the business, and then I did an SBA loan. So that's really what's been like my buffer is that SBA.
Great, great. So was size a factor as you're looking at, as you mentioned, about 10 brands in the early stages? Was the size of the brand actually a factor? Because I've had people say to me, Lance, I want a brand as big as McDonald's that is proven. And I basically tell them, you can get at much smaller brands that are proven because you need to be able to get territory. You were able to lock in 3 territories, which is obviously the goal. So tell me, was size a factor?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, being in Sarasota, Manatee County, it's a very desirable area. So, when we were looking at franchises, it was okay, what businesses have this territory open? And then we could kind of pick from those. What I liked about Voda, of course, was getting all 3 of the territories that I wanted to. But with restoration, the fact that kind of like that proven part of it, well, if there's other new businesses in the franchise or in the restoration space, if they can produce the funds, like I believe that Voda can get there as well. So it was more about having that space available and then getting into an industry that I believed could make a profit.
Yeah, awesome. So let's talk in terms of the cornerstone of your success. So share with me one bit of wisdom that you would say is what's making you successful this early on and what's going to be the foundation for your growth.
Yeah, kind of. So yeah, I think what is going to help me be successful is just listening to people that have done it. Just talking to other business owners, talking to others in the industry that aren't necessarily tied to Voda, and just learning from them. If I can leverage their wisdom, then I think that's going to help me out. So you're asking about wisdom, but it's me leveraging others' wisdom and kind of taking their learning lessons and applying it to my business.
Well, I think your wisdom is the fact that you're smart enough to be a continuous learner,
Yes.
and being coachable. And you mentioned the resources outside of Voda. That's amazing. And then a lot of people listening to this don't even understand you have so much in the way of resources within the brand, because the most successful franchisees that are a little bit ahead of you at this point are obviously an amazing untapped resource too.
Yeah, exactly. I was very fortunate. I wasn't the first one open in Florida, so I have an owner south of me, and she's just great. We talk a lot. Well, I think all the Florida network, we talk a lot, but it really is just learning lessons and constant communication and how we can improve as a state, because when one of us excels, then all of us can excel. And together, I know it's so cheesy, but together we can be united. So then Voda can win, because once you start getting brand recognition in the state, then everyone's going to start asking for us. So I very much believe in working together as one big brand.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly.
Nina Hunter, you have been fabulous. Thank you for being here and sharing a little bit about your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great talking to you.
My pleasure.
If you're ready to talk about franchise opportunities, hit the link below to schedule a call. My services are free, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.